7 o'clock. We'll call the town board meeting November 15th, 2021 to order. First item on the agenda is the approval. Patrick?
Mr. Chair, there will be no additions. However, we will be pulling one of our consent items for additional discussion. And when we get to consent, we can do that.
5D?
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Board have any changes?
No.
All right. I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Item 3 is approval of payment of the bills. Steve, you sign off?
I did move to approve payment of the bills.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. Item 4, we need an approval of the minutes from November 1st, 2021. Any changes?
I saw none. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. Item 5 is consent agenda, minus the 5D. Does anyone wish to pull any of these off and discuss?
I will move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Item 6 is old business. We have none. Item-
Did you want to
Oh,
talk
I'm
about?
sorry. We got to go back to 5D. Patrick, you want to go over this again?
Sure. So, meeting with the chair today to sign checks, his eagle eye, his keen eye, did bring out one point that was overlooked in the newly updated landscaping policy for the township. He did note that during our executive committee discussion that there was a time period, if you look under point E, maintenance policy, at the bottom, we did have Dale add at least one time parameter for the board to consider. We can adjust that if that did not accurately reflect the conversation of that day. And Chad, I would ask you if the board is comfortable with the change in language, if we can still adopt this evening.
Sure we can.
Okay. So I would open it up for discussion as to your comfort level with what we requested Dale add today.
I'll make a comment. I agree that the item as written was not clear, and with the addition of within 1 year, I can live with that. There's also an item on here, it has to do with the height of the grass.
Okay.
It's conflicted in that it says a height no more than 4, and then in parentheses 8, and in parentheses crossed off 4 inches. So is it 4 inches or 8 inches? That's item, it's number 6.
Right, number 6.
Yep. Shall be mowed.
Yeah, is it 50% or 30% green?
The ones that are crossed out were part of the old policy. The ones that are not crossed out are the
Oh, I
proposed
see
new.
what you're saying.
Okay, so as that relates to the 4 part, so it's really crossed off the word written 4 to 8,
Yep,
which,
But this should read
should be 8.
more than 8 instead of
and
4.
that it gels with our ordinance
Yes.
for nuisance grass heights, I believe it's 8 inches.
You're correct.
And so if 6 gets changed to the right written word 4, crossed off to the written word 8 inches, I think that's appropriate.
Okay, can do.
I have no other comments.
And then the other item was 1 year. What was that number?
E.
Within.
E, under maintenance policy.
And I think you need to look at the Word document in the email today, because it's not on
Oh,
the agenda. So pull up your mail. The first top one.
So number 5 and number 8, I think, or E, excuse me.
all right. So that one's going to read, did the owner shall replace any damaged, dead, or diseased trees and shrubs within a year's notice? How is this going to read?
Year of removal.
Yeah. If it needs further clarification, now's the time to do it, if you want it to read differently.
Works for me.
Okay.
It's okay with me?
All right,
Good save, Ed.
you got both those down? Madam Secretary? All right, with those minor changes, do I have a motion to approve the landscaping policy?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. All right, item 6 is old business, we have none. Item 7, public hearing, we have none. So we'll go right to item 8, which is new business, the town clerk treasurer annual performance evaluation.
Mr. Chair, may I make a recommendation?
No?
Okay.
Okay.
We have members here from the public who might want to speak. Perhaps we can move that agenda item up in our list of business here.
You folks are for,
We are here just mostly to observe. We have no specific questions.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nothing that.
you picked a really exciting meeting to look at.
Actually, we're just driving through. No. What, we may have some discussion after the meeting, just some informal.
Well, we have a spot for open time, you can come up to the
Comment on
mic
anything
and get
you
on
like.
camera and say your name and address and, okay.
Okay.
All right, so let's go back to Patrick.
Really? Okay. Okay, so for our township personnel policy, the clerk treasurer needs to be evaluated annually. The rest of our staff will be undergoing their own performance evaluations from their department heads over the next month. I submitted to you on Wednesday, on Wednesday I submitted my goals and objectives for last year and the upcoming year. Last Monday, I believe, is when I sent you out the evaluation to fill out on your own. So we can follow the same format this evening if you'd like. I would suggest that every one of you, if you want to highlight some points, some feedback about me, we can do that here. But each one of your evaluations should probably go to Chad. Mine, I will need to sign, and Ed will need to sign. Clear as mud?
Very much.
Sure.
Okay, so I would open up to you any topic or point within your evaluation that you did for the clerk treasurer to be discussed here at your leisure.
Just a quick question, Chad, can I email this to you?
Yes, you can.
All right, because I was scribbling all over the one I had, but I had a one here I was just going to email off, so,
That's fine.
all right.
I'll give you mine when we're done. So how do you want to do it, Mr. Chair?
We'll just take turns throwing darts? How's that work?
As long as you don't mind if I duck.
Scott, you want to start?
Sure. So I just sent my official evaluation to Chad, so you can look at that with the checks and the locations. I decided to look at your strengths, further opportunities, and then feedback on your achievements.
Okay.
Number one is on the strengths, I think you definitely have a vision. You have certainly not been shy about pushing the township in the direction of the vision that you have, which is great. And again, since I didn't know how townships operated before I got involved here, it's been interesting to see how you have been changing the direction and streamlining the operation. I think it's really good. Secondly, I think you really are able to juggle multiple priorities. You have a lot going on. You seem to keep them all kind of moving forward. Sometimes you're busy over here, and then you run over here, and then you run over here, and you turn around and look, and it all kind of seems to move forward. So that's really good. Opportunities.
Yes.
First and foremost, I'm sure that some of this is not going to be any surprise. I suspect I am not the first person to bring this up.
Have at it.
First is, I think you could calm down.
Okay.
You are very high energy. which is great. There's appearances of maybe being nervous, and I doubt that's the case. Secondly, I would say that in all fairness, and I'm being totally transparent, there are times when I see you over here on the phone a lot, during a meeting, during conversations, and I'm sure that you're juggling other things going on. It's potentially a distraction.
Sure.
And thirdly, I would say there have been a couple times where there were some discussions during like executive meetings and you were going to follow up on it, and we get to another meeting or two down the road and it's like, oh crap, I forgot.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the details. You've got the big vision, you want to delegate it to people, and maybe that's where sometimes it doesn't happen, but it sometimes is surprising to find out the stuff that we've talked about, and Lord knows my memory is not great, to find out that we got to reinvent the wheel and go over it again. That's those major items. My observations on the goals for this year is that there seemed to be some repetition, and some of these I think maybe they shouldn't even be on your goals for the next year because they're ongoing.
Okay.
You have used the word ongoing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and I just don't know that those should be on your goals for next year. That just sounds like it's routine business. Some stuff is a big deal, bridge the transition for some retirements that are coming up. That's a big dang deal. Irrigation ban management, that's a big dang deal.
Yeah.
Phase 4, the street improvement, yeah, that's a big deal. Those are big meaty ones. And then some others appeared to be as though they didn't get done last year, and quite honestly, if I look back, they didn't get done the year before, so now they're objectives for this year. And I wonder that, like, reviewing and rewriting all the township ordinances. Last year, a lot of things got put on hold because of the whole disaster that went on. But I know that this one has been on some of your others, and I just wonder that we need to what can we do to help you achieve these goals? And maybe there's nothing. Maybe we just need to keep staying out of the way. I would like to add, if there's some way to come up with a better way of helping Mike with the code enforcement and with nuisance properties. And we've talked about this before. We only have a handful of properties, but it seems to take up a huge amount of time.
Sure does.
Is there a better way to approach those strategically? Can we get ahead of those a little sooner? And that's really tied in with code enforcement, I know. So those were my thoughts and observations.
Okay.
Fine job. Steve?
Absolutely. First off, I made a general comment, and I said you're on track with my expectations of the administrative clerk treasurer position, and you are carrying out the township vision. You're still relatively new in our township environment, but I think you've grasped how we connect up with our neighboring communities. So whatever I say, are meant to be. I'm still happy that you're our guy, okay? So here I put as your strengths, I said you communicate unity and enthusiasm well amongst us. I agree with Scott's that you get a little animated, you get a little wound up. But you are willing to listen to diverse views, and that is your role, to kind of filter what others, with other staff or us, without interjecting, no, this is the way we're going to do it, when you don't really have that authority. And I think overall you've made very sound decisions this year based on facts versus emotion, and I think that needs to continue. So further development, I said I think you need to detail clearly to staff on all the mutual issues of importance. Sometimes I'm not sure that the public works people value some of the obstacles that, for example, our code enforcement people have to deal with, and they want, because they're in the now, they want to make immediate changes, but I'm not sure they fully understand that we cannot go in and tear up someone's house just because it's a mess.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we need to clearly communicate that it's not your role, but your role is also to assist, and so you kind of get that whole community working as a whole, because we do not have tons of staff, so we got to use what we have. And I said delegate responsibility with proof but verify. I think you're one that'll take on a lot of tasks when you have others that you should be developing, and that will transition us towards that retirement piece that you have.
Yeah.
We're either going to have to go outside to replace everybody or see what we have within. And I'm hoping within the public works, as an example, that we have some opportunity for promotion if, for example, if the director decided to retire. And for yourself personally, it goes with that policy of looking at ordinances and policies. I said you need to develop clearer understanding of the ordinances and policies, which was on your radar for 2021, but due to COVID, it really wasn't. But I think they need to be modernized in a lot of ways, and I don't think you necessarily have to do it. I think you have to point out and get it to our committees to review, but the wintertime is the time to do a lot of them because there's downtime for all the activities, whether it's the Planning Commission or the Park Board or maybe utilities or public safety.
Sure.
It's good to get those out.
It's a good idea.
And I said for goals for next year, it kind of fits, I think, with what Scott was saying about improved township ability to track the permit process within the township. Prior to COVID, we purchased software that was going to help track permits, and it would keep the public informed as to who has permits, which is public information, but it's really difficult to know that without calling and asking the front desk to see if there was a permit pulled. And that fits with improving the website for easy use by the residents. I think that's an ongoing opportunity for us to make sure in today's world, with as much as social media is involved, to keep our website as current as possible and easy to navigate. And utilize all personnel to their fullest and seek job shares where possible with neighboring communities or within the employee group that we have. We don't have an abundance of resources and dollars to go out and get more employees, so we need to make sure that where we can, we cross-train
Okay.
wherever possible. So those are the items that I am.
Okay.
You guys almost hit all of my points. I actually went back to last year's evaluation form and kind of looked at the goals and the stuff, and like Scott had said, a lot of them are repetitious again. But I did, from last year to this year, your score did go up.
Oh, yeah. From 0?
But obviously, I mean, I think we did this board did a really good job when we picked you out of the, I don't know how many candidates we started with, but only because you've proven yourself as a great communicator, very personable. You're obviously a problem solver, and you bring a new perspective to the town. When you have a clerk treasurer that's been here for 30 years, sometimes things just kind of lay dormant, and you
Sure.
picked up the pace and brought a lot of stuff to the surface. I know part of the thing, about a month ago or so, I started just talking to staff, just to get a feel, because this board doesn't sit in on day-to-day duties. When we don't, the only time we even see half the staff is at exec meetings.
Yeah.
So we don't really get to see what's happening right in the administrative building or public works as far as that goes. So I got a kind of a general overview, and I get everybody's got their little gripes about everything. So I kind of tried to look past all that. I think what I took out of that little survey I did was mainly, I think you need a little more staff structure,
Okay.
communication, and better documentation and details with a follow-up with the board. If there's issues with staff, or we're not going to micromanage this at all, but we like to know if things are going smoothly, if there's a complication with duties or job descriptions. If I don't want to get involved in intermingling staff arguments either, but I just want to make sure
Why not?
because that's why we hired you.
I know.
But I just want to make sure everybody just loves coming to work for the township. So, and I kind of missed the Friday recaps. You kind of let that ball drop.
I know, and when I was going over my list on Wednesday,
Yeah.
shot in the front of my mind. You're absolutely right.
Because, at least we had talked about not being
Yeah.
able to have or violate the open public meeting.
Yeah.
So if we can't, get a group text or whatever from you, we need those memos and stuff to keep.
You're
us
absolutely
informed.
right. That just slid off the radar for a couple months here. So.
And that, I don't know how, obviously you're engaged with staff in the administrative building. I don't know how much you get into the public works. How often you go down there, or if you intermingle with those guys, or how much you have to do with, because they're a union that they're, if, I'm not going to belabor the point, but you hear grumbling on some of that stuff. So, it's hard to evaluate on this format, because a lot of this is involved, or we have to kind of assume how you're handling staff and how you're managing that. We have no idea. And I know there were previous board members that would sit down in Public Works and tell those guys how to do their job. And that's not the intention of this board. And then Steve hit on the point too, that more involvement with staff duties and job descriptions and time management, especially now if we're going to start doing a lot of this new software, I think we got to start looking at more training and education, so everybody in staff is being able to update the website or familiar with how the paperless stuff is going to go. Because if we're going to eventually go to all paperless, everybody's got to be familiar with the process. And I think that's going to be a big deal, because otherwise it's going to get more complicated if everyone's not on the same page.
Okay.
I think that's it. Otherwise, like they said, these two gentlemen did a great job, because most of the stuff I had, they covered.
Okay.
So you're still standing, so we couldn't have hurt you too bad. All right?
Is that it?
Keep up your good, all I'll say is keep up your good work. And I do echo what he said about keeping us informed on things that you may not think we need to know about, but anything that involves the community or potential with the community, we have to know about it, because we get calls.
Sure.
And the worst thing we can do is say,
No, I don't know.
I don't know anything about that.
Well, actually, that absolves you from any responsibility.
I don't know.
Well-
Talk to the clerk.
That's,
But we're
that's
supposed to
true.
know, that's kind of our job.
Yeah. But, no, I'm very pleased, as Ed said, with the hiring process. Scott really wasn't involved with the actual hiring for the
He
position.
wishes he was now.
Well,
I
he's,
kept all those resumes, so
I think
just watch it.
he's deeply involved with the molding of the position.
Sure.
And you're doing a good job.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Patrick.
Okay. So I passed. Can I come back to work tomorrow? Side up? All right. Medium?
Okay,
All right. Thanks, guys.
all right.
All right, that concludes item, okay, you got your stuff to Chad?
I will hand it to him when we're done.
Okay. That concludes item 8. Item 9 is added agenda items, we have none. Item 10 is open time. This is where if you folks want to say something, you can come up to the podium, just state your name and address for the record, and
Hi, my name's Steve Backus. I live at 1104 Pine Hill Lane. I'm here with my wife, Karen. I think what we have questions about is pretty trivial, and I'm kind of reluctant to speak because I don't know if I'm going to get evaluated like Patrick.
No, that's a one-year deal.
I've been had evaluations before, but never publicly, so good job. I don't know if it's a good place to even ask these questions, but we live in Pine Hill, right off Centerville Road, and there's a lot of stuff going on Centerville Road, and we're just kind of interested what White Bear Township's involvement is on that project there. That'd be one. Two is we live in Pine Hill, and everybody's got sprinkler systems and also water bill shock right now because our water bills are pretty high. I know that I did see something that came out that the rates were changing, and I didn't think would get hit that hard, although it was a rather dry year this year. So we probably used our sprinklers more than before. If you could comment on that. And then finally, our property butts up the whole development to another piece of property that it seems like it wouldn't be long before that's going to be developed, and I'm wondering if there's
Is that to the south you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those three things, that property on the south, Centerville Road, if you want to comment on that, and any comments on the water.
Well, I can take the Centerville Road one. North Oaks Company, not North Oaks, but North Oaks Company owns quite a bit of property in North Oaks. They also own two big chunks of industrial on our side in the township. They're, I don't want to say fire sailing, but they're interested in just getting out of the business. So they've got everything they own up for sale, and they're trying to develop and get it all done, and they're going to close shop, I think. That's their main goal. So you'll see those two big developments, one off Anderson Lane, north of us, because I actually live just
Yeah.
north of you. Yeah, in fact, I think I've talked to you before.
Yeah, I have.
So, and then the property just to the south of you guys, those are two big ones. They came to us about, I don't know, a couple months ago with a concept plan of a industrial little complex with a 3-story apartment complex and townhomes, and we basically said no, because we'd have to rezone it to a multi-level or a multi-R rating, and it's zone industrial, and that's kind of why we'd like to keep it. So if something goes in there, chances are it's going to be another medical factory or a warehouse or something of that sort. I don't foresee it coming in as multiple housing. At least this board's not real happy about that. To start with, we already have watering problems. We're under a lawsuit right now because of the level of the lake. So we're really watching our water right now, and we don't need another 700 units coming in absorbing more water. So that's kind of put a hold on that one. Now, I heard there was some interest in it again by a delivery company, but it's kind of fallen away. So those developments are in the process right now, and I don't know if you follow the paper, the one in North Oaks is now having some litigation problems, so that one's on hold, at least the one off Anderson Lane. The condos, I don't know what they're doing there. That kind of is out of our privy, some of that stuff we don't know about. We are supplying water to those two units and sewer, so we do get involved a little bit with those. Actually, water bills, Scott sits on the utility commission. He could probably explain a little bit of what we just did.
Way to toss it over.
It's just the fact that delivering water is becoming more expensive. And there was a lot of time and effort spent on setting next year's rates. They don't even go into effect until January. So what you're looking at right now are rates that were approved this time last year. And to your point, yeah, I've had other neighbors walk up, physical neighbors who live next door, walk up and say, what in the heck's going on with the water bill? Well, you've been watering. I've seen you water more. It was a dry year. The pond across from me is dried up. The rates are not going down anytime soon, but the new rates won't go into effect until next year. So it's all this, it's a result of, as Ed mentioned, the lawsuit that was instituted several years ago. We have been given some very specific direction from the DNR about reducing even further what is allowed as far as water allowances per person. Now, that has not yet been put into effect, but we've been given to believe that's what's coming down the road. So I hate that you had sticker shock. I don't think it's going to get better.
I think I read at one point where some communities were saying if there's a watering ban, even if you have a well, you would not be able to water. Is there any truth to that? Or?
That gets into the whole lake level lawsuit, but ideally we would like to see a uniform mandate, or not mandate, that's not the right term. We'd like to see whatever comes down the pike enforced across the board. Now that gets kind of challenging, because if you do have a private well, how am I going to monitor it? but it would be in a spirit of everybody sharing whatever kind of pain comes down because of this potential reduction in allowable water per unit.
Well, you guys have a homeowners association, right?
We have a loosely, kind of, a loose document there, but, yeah, no fees, no,
Okay, but do you have a company that manages the sprinkler systems?
no,
So you
Everybody has their
manage your own?
yeah.
Okay, do they all have water sensors?
I mean, like.
Moisture
Rain
sensors?
sensors?
I think they do.
I think
Well,
they have to now.
Okay,
I'm
well,
pretty sure they do, whether or not they're, you can switch them off.
because that's the biggest thing. It really does hurt you when you drive down the road and it's raining and somebody's sprinklers are going.
I was going to add to what both these two gentlemen said about the water is that, it's not just the township that's involved in this. It's White Bear Lake. It's with wells within 5 miles of the lake. And there is a state or district court ruling on the lake level. So when it hits a level, we are mandated to have to make further water conservation issues. And so that we're going to always be under, whether it's White Bear Township, other communities around us. But I feel your pain, believe me, because, and this board here knows this, I'm a water abuser from the standpoint that I have irrigation system also. I also have a swimming pool, which has to be filled and lowered. And so my water bill, I probably is not, it was higher than yours probably. Mine was $800.
Yeah, you beat me.
And I'm not proud of that, but I say you have to pay to play, and that's, I want the pool and I like the green yard. We live in green utopia.
Yeah.
And I think the message from the court system, it's a luxury, not a necessity to have green yards. And maybe at some point, I'm going to have to face the reality also that I need to change the way we live a little bit for the better of the long-term communities. But
Okay,
And plus too, with any development that may come up in the township, it goes through a process. There will be concept plans brought to the planning commission, and the planning commission will bring them to us. And it's not just all of a sudden they're going to start digging a hole.
Yeah.
There's a process for them to come to us with any kind of development that they want to do. And we try to keep everybody informed with notices and public announcements of what's happening, so.
Something else you might just want to call out is the properties to the west of Centerville. Centerville divides White Bear Township from North Oaks, so what is being worked on right now is in North Oaks, and we have no say whatsoever on that.
yeah, and I did get some information from them and with the pricing, so I'm not going to be moving.
yeah, and they were the developer for where your homes are. I mean, North Oaks Company was the developer behind that.
And the ones to the north of
And
me
to the
now.
north of him also,
So they did them both.
so.
I mean, they do very high quality, nice work, but like I say, I think they just want to be done.
Do you know, as far as that North Oaks development there, those condos, is that going to be concrete or is it going to be a stick building? Do you know? or-
You talking about in North Oaks?
Yeah, that new condo complex. I was just
Oh,
curious.
I'm sure when they do high rises, that's all block. But I can't say for sure. We've seen the general plans. I've never seen a construction plan.
Right.
Since our involvement really is with the sewer and water part of it,
Yeah, we don't
whatever
get
the
much beyond
North
that.
Oaks city lets them build, it's out of our control,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, anything else? Okay, thanks very
Thank
much.
you, folks.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no one else in the audience, let's move on. Item 11 is receipt of general materials and supplements. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:34.